Hey y'all, I am reacting to Osmongold again, and this time it's about the tariff situation. He has this compilation video that he found somewhere where we have Democrats actually talking about a lot of the points that President Donald Trump has been sharing about tariffs. So kind of interesting. I haven't watched the whole thing, so I just restarted it from the beginning so that I can make commentary and just provide some feedback.
Is this what I think it is?
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo?
Man.
As I mentioned, it's about jobs, proliferation, and human rights. And there are those—
She was only 130 years old back then.
—who say we shouldn't link.
Okay, stop it. So 1996, this is a Nancy Pelosi I have not seen before. I have not seen this older video.
Human rights and trade and proliferation and trade. I disagree. But if we just want to take up this issue on the basis of economics alone, indeed, China should not receive most favored nation status for several reasons that I'd like to go into now. I'd like to call the attention of our colleagues to this chart on the status quo that the
35% on U.S. goods?
Man, that's crazy. Another chart. This chart reminds me of another chart I've seen recently. So this is a while ago.
The business community is asking each and every one of you each and every one of us to endorse today. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China.
That's a lot.
The 1995 figure. It will be over $40 billion for 1996.
Let's see what it's at right now. How many money? So now, so it was then, it's, what's the number here? It says 34 billion. And it says that now it's 295 billion. Okay, so it went up. Yeah, it went up.
Since the Tiananmen Square massacre, this figure has increased 1,000%, from $3.5 billion then to about $34 billion now. In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%.
That's crazy.
Is that reciprocal? On exports, China only allows certain industries into China, of U.S. Industries into China, and therefore only 2% of U.S. exports are allowed into China.
Where have I?
It sounds different when she says it.
On the other hand, the U.S. allows China to flood
cotton 480p
at our markets with a third of their exports, and that'll probably go over 40%, and it's limitless because we have not placed any restriction. In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. Not only do we not have market access, not only do they have prohibitive tariffs, not only are our exports not let in very specifically.
She's getting mad.
But China benefits with at least 10 million jobs from U.S.-China trade.
Wow.
The president, in his statement requesting this special waiver, said that China trade supports 170,000 jobs in the United States. 170,000 jobs. Whereas,
what a ratio. Our
imports from China support 10 million jobs at least. Fact is that U.S.-China trade.
Right, that doesn't sound fair, right? 1996.
Is a job loser. And one of the reasons that it is because well, first let me just make another point, and that is that our colleagues on the other side of this issue will say that trade with China, exports to China have increased 3 times in the last 10 years. They have. But they fail to mention that imports from China have increased 11 times, thereby leading to this huge trade deficit. The other issue, in addition, if intellectual property is a $2 billion, $3 billion loss, technology transfer is in the hundreds of billions of dollars.
This is so fucking funny for me to watch. Yeah, this is really funny.
And I know he's probably going to say it's funny because what does Donald Trump talk about? We've heard it for what, the past 8 years, tariffs and why they're so important, and then our trade relations with China not being fair. It sounded like the same conversation, only from the Democratic Party here.
This isn't AI, and now she's against it. A lot of people are.
You want to sell?
Well, yeah, they're going to be against it because, well, one, I'm sure these were implemented to help businesses. Like, who wins in all of this? Businesses, not the people. But then also now they have probably something to lose. How much money does Nancy Pelosi have in the markets, right? So, and then the other thing to think about with tariffs, because now they've been implemented, well, it would change our pricing on a lot of goods. We just don't have manufacturing like we did back in 1996. So this is a complete shift back. And then you have, y'all know I was working for a while at Nestle Purina, and what we were talking about years ago was this digitalization of the factories and how we looked at videos where AI and humans would work alongside each other, and AI would be more and more impactful, and therefore the jobs would be more about making sure those machines and the robotics are working effectively, efficiently, how to make them more efficient, right? How to program them, et cetera, et cetera. So it's more about the efficiency of the factories. And you can imagine how much money can be made if you're running factories with a little overhead, but if you don't have any manufacturing in place, you're tied to the other country that you're getting your goods from, which is China for us, really. How many things say made in America are made in the USA, and how many things say made in China or some other country, right? So, I mean, we're globalized. I don't think it's going to go back, but people want to go back to this.
To China, your products into China. The Chinese insist that you open a factory there. They misappropriate your technology, open factories of their own, and then say to you, now we want to see your plan for export.
That's been true for as long as I've been alive. I've always heard about this, concern with stealing IP. So you're making the products, you're innovating, right, in the United States, and then it's basically redone because now China can take that and make their own.
It's as simply as I can say it briefly. But the fact is, this isn't about products made in America. The Chinese want American products that are made in China. And the most serious of these transfers of technology are in the airline industry, where
she sounds like Trump. I'm sorry. She does. It's just kind of funny.
Boeing tail sections.
Bro, doesn't Trump bring this shit up too?
What would your life be like if you were a rapid?
Y'all know he's being funny. We know he brings it up. If you ever heard a Trump speech, he's going to bring up Joe Biden so terrible, maybe Obama so terrible, Hillary Clinton, Michelle, well, maybe not Michelle, but Hillary Clinton possibly. He's going to bring up tariffs, China, right? He is going to bring up the forgotten. They've ruined the country. They're ruining the country. It's so bad. Yeah, we know the speech at this point. We know every single time. But he always mentions that we need to implement the tariffs. So yeah, we've heard the speech.
Oh my God. This is so fucking funny.
The Boeing 737s were mostly made in Wichita, Kansas. Now they are made in Shen province, where workers make $50 a month. And they had the transfer of the technology and the transfer of the jobs has taken place.
Man.
General Motors, Ford, they're all fighting to get in to build factories there so they can make parts there. They want MFN so they can get those parts.
How did this happen? I really don't know. That's crazy.
Back into the United States.
What the fuck?
I suspect, I don't know for sure, but I suspect the, lobbying of large corporations, because they benefit from that. Low costs in other countries, they can sell their products here, and they can make really high profits, and they're not giving the jobs to the citizens of the United States because, we have some protections.
fuck
So
happened?
we are
I don't
exporting
know.
not low-tech jobs and textile jobs. We're exporting our technology. Now, if you take a country the size of China with the very cheap, and in some instances, slave labor, the lack of market access, the rip-off of our intellectual property, the transfer of technology, a country that is not willing to play by the rules in any respect in this trade relationship, you have a serious threat not only to our relationship, but to the industrialized world. And if there's one message that I want our colleagues to understand today and our constituents is that on this day, your member of Congress could have drawn the line to say to the President of the United States, do something about this U.S.-China trade relationship that is a job loser for the United States.
Yeah.
And this brings us to the point that others have said, well, we can't isolate China. Do you think for 1 minute that with 10 million jobs at least and $35 billion and be over $40 billion this year in a trade surplus?
Where'd she go wrong? I don't know how this shift happened either. I think it happened after. So this is what I think happened. I think after Occupy Wall Street, there was an intentional injection of identity politics into the Democratic Party. And it shifted the values of the Democratic Party away from workers' rights and working in the best interest of, average Americans. And it shifted it from that into working in the best interest of different identity groups. And I think that I believe also that this was intentional, and I think it was a conspiracy. I think that a lot of the elites got scared of Occupy Wall Street. And after that, they started pushing a lot more identity politics to keep people distracted with them so they don't look at the actual people that are taking all the money, which are the people that are on Wall Street, that have all this.
He might have a point. That's an interesting perspective. He has a point because there's definitely been a shift with both parties in what the focus is on when it comes to the issues and how they're getting votes now, what they want the people to focus on. There's a lot of control that they have on keeping the masses centered on certain issues and avoiding other issues. I could see that.
Stocks that are in the 1%. So I think that's what's happened. 9/11 also added on top of that. Yeah. And so, confused the issues. Yes, they did confuse the issues a lot. And I think the Democratic Party got hijacked by the, like special interests and things like that after Occupy Wall Street. And I think that was the real turning point.
All those billions of dollars in surplus that the Chinese are going to walk away. Where are they going to take 35 to 40% of their exports? Who's going to buy them? This is what sustains the regime. The funding and the jobs. They can't have those people out of work. They have to be at work exporting to the United States.
Mm-hmm. I think she brings up some great points. She does. Yep, true.
Further, what they have said is that we need to not worry about manufacturing in America.
So when a client comes to us with an ask,
Bernie. Okay, this is 2004. I think it said 2008. I'm sorry, 2008. Well, let's see what he has to say.
Still, how many years has this guy been 80? This guy's been 80 for fucking 50 years.
Because what we should establish is a policy of unfettered free trade. We don't need tariffs. What we need is to allow corporate America the freedom to throw American workers out on the street, people who are making 15, 20, 25 bucks an hour, healthcare, pensions, throw them out on the street because somehow, Madam President, we are going to create wealth in America and good paying jobs in America as we.
He's always been so passionate. It's nice to see the passion in our politicians, but I also feel like we need to get some fresh minds into our political parties.
We shut down plants. We moved to China. Corporations.
He was right. He was right about everything. Talking about the VAT.
They sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beat.
He still says this shit. He even said that about, he's like, Shinzo, I know, like, that's, you were getting us, and I know you were getting us. It's okay.
The hell out of this country.
Yeah.
Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. and yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know.
Man.
Oprah called it.
That's crazy. How about that?
People have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. But I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really...
Yeah, Oprah called that. She really did call it. And yeah, her hair was amazing. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but yes.
And then Obama humiliated him at the dinner and history was made. That's right. Yep.
There's a vicious rumor floating around that I think could really hurt Mitt Romney. I heard he passed universal health care when he was governor of Massachusetts. Someone should get to the bottom of that. And I know just the guy to do it. Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
Man.
What really happened in Roswell? And
what's crazy is that he actually did go and declassify the documents for JFK.
He's not forgetting squat. Like when I say Geminis can be vengeful, and y'all saw the other video I made. Yeah, if he feels like someone came at him, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Yeah, this is revenge. And thanks, Obama. We could have just avoided this whole thing. We might have been able to avoid this entire thing. Like, I feel like I'll save it. I'll save it to then.
The funniest thing is everybody's laughing about this, but he did it. Yeah.
There are Biggie and Tupac.
That, you know what? Actually, that's a really... Whatever happened with Tupac? Yeah, what's the FBI files on Tupac?
Oh, Maddie said, where are Biggie and Tupac?
Because nobody knows what the fuck happened there. I feel like this is a big deal.
No, someone knows. They know what happened. It's just hidden.
People say it was Diddy. They say it was Suge Knight. You know, I don't know. But we got to look into this.
Meet the new standard in sleep. This is Pod 4 Ultra. It's not a bed, it's a revolution in the sleep game. Crafted for those who...
I am so sick of all of these new versions of beds. Like, how many versions of this do we need? This is ridiculous. And it seems like they all do the same thing with like maybe one minor adjustment and all the different mattresses. Like, come on. Okay, I'm skipping.
All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night.
Man.
Obama did this. I'm sorry, I'm being funny, but like I imagine that this is what started it. You know, he was already political, didn't think he'd get into politics. I mean, he's not directly at least making money from politics, but indirectly, maybe. And then this happened.
Man. If only they knew. That was 14 years ago? Yep. Thanks, Obama. I know. This was in...
Someone really said, thanks, Obama. This is one thing that I do think it would have been better if he had not done it. But also, how would you know?
In 2011. That's fucking hilarious. Oh my God. And watch Obama saying Trump is never going to be president. I've seen that too. Why does Obama, the president, watching reality TV instead of fixing a country? Well, I mean, come on. Everybody needs a chance to relax. I mean, what the fuck? He can't watch TV at all? I mean, you can have it on in the background.
Are people saying the same thing about the current president playing golf? I just wonder.
You're signing something. It's like he's going to forget how to sign his name. Then chill the fuck out, man. Yeah, watch it live. Watch the Oprah interview. I mean, I've seen a lot of the other ones, right? Read the comments. The comments are turned off. I wonder why.